Many people know cortisol as the stress hormone, pretty much making it sound like an unwanted hormone. But that's not true. Cortisol is mainly produced by our adrenal glands, which are small glands located just above our kidneys. When our brain senses stress, it sends signals to these glands to release cortisol into the bloodstream. Cortisol doesn't cause stress, it helps you deal with stress by triggering the release of sugar to provide your body the energy it needs. This gives you the extra strength you need to tackle those tough and challenging situations, while feeling alert and more focused. The problem starts when your body develops high levels of cortisol, and for a long time. Naturally, when the stressful moment passes, your body usually goes back to its normal state and cortisol levels drop. But when you're consistently under stress, your cortisol levels will consistently be high, and that can lead to a bunch of health issues. So how to identify these high cortisol levels? In today's episode, let's learn about the 8 signs that show your cortisol levels are too high, and see what you should do if that happens. Without any further delay, let's begin. Number 1. Lack of sleep. One of the most prominent signs of high cortisol levels is a disturbed or complete lack of sleep. And it can work in both ways. If you aren't taking enough sleep, it can cause your stress levels to stay high. And if you are consistently under stress, you are less likely to have a good night's sleep. The thing is that our bodies have a natural biological clock, scientifically known as the circadian rhythm. This rhythm affects our sleep-wake cycles and controls the release of hormones like cortisol. Normally, cortisol levels are highest in the daytime, helping us stay awake and feel alert, and they gradually decrease as the day goes on, allowing us to wind down and sleep at night. However, when you consistently lack proper sleep, this balance can be disturbed. When you don't get enough sleep, your body considers it as a stressor. This triggers the release of more cortisol, even when it was supposed to go down. So, the lack of sleep essentially keeps your cortisol levels high. On the other hand, if you are unable to get enough sleep, it's often a sign that your cortisol levels are still high and are messing with your circadian rhythm. High cortisol levels also tend to increase your blood pressure and make your heart beat faster, which too can prevent you from sleeping. So, if you often find yourself struggling with getting sleep, this could be a sign that your cortisol levels are too high. To sleep peacefully and bring your cortisol levels down, you can try reading a book, listening to relaxing music, meditating for a few minutes, or having a cup of certain herbal teas like chamomile tea, lemon balm tea, or passion flower tea. And do ensure to always sleep early and have at least 6 to 8 hours of sleep to wake up fresh in the morning. Before we move on, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon. If you find our videos helpful, please support us by becoming a patron. Number 2. Breakouts and hair loss. High cortisol levels can also show up in the form of hair fall and acne breakouts. This is mainly because consistently high cortisol levels can make your skin produce too much oil, and this excess oil can clog your skin pores, causing those annoying breakouts. Hair loss is another thing to keep an eye on. Just like your body, your hair has a growth cycle, and high cortisol levels can interfere with that cycle. Too much cortisol can push hair follicles into a resting phase, where they stop growing new hair. This can lead to noticeable hair thinning or even hair loss. So if you're finding more hair in the shower drain or on your hairbrush, it could be related to high cortisol levels. Number 3. Craving unhealthy foods. You may have seen that many people going through stress often tend to eat cookies, donuts, cakes, and unhealthy snacks. Do you know why? When your cortisol levels are high for a long time, it can mess with your body's natural hormonal balance. It can affect your hunger hormones, like ghrelin and leptin, both of which help regulate your appetite. Ghrelin makes you feel hungry, and leptin makes you feel full after you eat. But when these hormones go a little out of control due to high cortisol, you might start craving sugary, salty, or fatty foods, the not-so-healthy stuff. It's like your body's way of trying to cope with stress by seeking out those comfort foods, and also because your body needs a lot of energy to deal with stress. So when you catch yourself wanting to munch on a bag of chips, or dive into a tub of ice cream more often than usual, it could be a sign that your cortisol levels are too high. Another thing is that when you indulge in these comfort foods, your brain releases neurotransmitters like dopamine that make you feel better temporarily. and this is mainly why you might experience a sense of relief or pleasure after eating cakes or donuts. But unfortunately, this quick fix makes your brain develop a habit of wanting these unhealthy foods, which can lead to a cycle where you start craving these foods more often. Number 4. Weight gain. When cortisol levels are too high for too long, it can mess with your metabolism too. Metabolism is basically the way your body turns food into energy. But with high cortisol, your body tries to utilize all the energy it can have from food, making you feel hungry too soon, and as I said, making you reach for comfort foods that are often high in sugars. Eating more and more tends to make you gain weight, and when you keep eating more and more sugary foods, it can mess with your blood sugar levels, causing them to spike. When this happens, your body releases insulin to try and control the sugar. But if this keeps happening, your cells can become more resistant to insulin, making it harder for your body to use sugar for energy. This extra sugar then gets stored as fat, causing you to gain weight. Number 5. Fall sick easily. If you are getting sick quite often, like developing a common cold, flu, cough, or fever, it's a very clear sign that your immune system is not as strong as it should be. And guess what? This can happen when your cortisol levels are consistently too high. This is again related to high blood sugar levels. Too much stress causes your blood sugar levels to spike, which can take a toll on your immune system too. Normally, your healthy immune system helps your body fight off infections and illnesses, but when cortisol is too high, it can suppress your immune response, weakening your body's defense against bacteria and viruses. Number 6. Backaches and headaches. When your cortisol levels are too high for a long time, it can cause muscle tension and inflammation. This tension can affect the muscles in your back, leading to backaches. So, if you've been feeling a lot of stress lately, and suddenly your back starts acting up, it might just be your body's way of telling you to take it easy. Similarly, headaches can also be linked to high cortisol levels. High cortisol levels trigger the release of sugar, which can cause your blood vessels to constrict, restricting blood flow to your brain. It can also happen because stress can potentially increase your blood pressure. Imagine your heart pumping blood to your brain while your blood vessels are already constricted. So that's how too much stress can trigger headaches or migraines. Number 7. Gastrointestinal issues. There's a solid scientific reason for the saying butterflies in the stomach. You may have noticed that stress makes you feel having a disturbed stomach, and this isn't just a feeling. When cortisol levels are consistently too high, it takes your body into fight or flight mode. So naturally, dealing with a threat is now more important than digesting that burger you just ate. This can lead to symptoms like stomach aches, cramps, and even diarrhea. There's another thing called the gut-brain connection. Think of it like your gut is connected to your brain with a hotline, and cortisol is the operator connecting the call. So when cortisol levels are high, it can disrupt the communication between your gut and brain, potentially causing digestive issues. So if you are feeling butterflies in your stomach and feeling symptoms of digestive discomfort, it could be a sign that your cortisol levels are too high. Number 8. Anxiety. Another clear sign of stress or high cortisol levels is anxiety. High cortisol levels can interfere with the balance of neurotransmitters in your brain, such as serotonin and dopamine, both of which play crucial roles in regulating your mood and emotions. In other words, when you have more cortisol levels, you are most likely to have low levels of serotonin and dopamine. This imbalance makes you feel uneasy, nervous, and anxious. Moreover, consistently high cortisol can also seriously disturb your hippocampus, the part of your brain that's responsible for memory and emotions. And alarmingly, when stress becomes chronic, it can even affect your brain's ability to understand and remember things, also known as brain fog. But it's not too hard to control your stress either. Incorporating relaxation techniques, regular exercise, proper sleep, and seeking professional help if needed can all help you lower your cortisol levels and manage your symptoms of stress and anxiety effectively. And remember to avoid taking too many sugary foods and drinks, sodas, cola drinks, alcoholic drinks, and caffeinated drinks like black tea or coffee. These things can seriously mess with the hormones in your brain, triggering high cortisol levels and other issues. Instead, try to go for plain water, natural fruit juices without added sugar, or herbal teas that I told you about. Thank you for watching and subscribing to the channel. See you in the next video.